Today we'll learn about CPU scheduling. So, what is CPU scheduling? CPU scheduling is a process which allows one process to use the CPU while the execution of another process is on hold in waiting state due to unavailability of any resource like input, output, etc., thereby making full use of CPU. The aim of CPU scheduling is to make the system efficient, fast, and fair. Whenever the CPU becomes idle, the operating system must select one of the processes in the ready queue to be executed. The selection process is carried out by the short-term scheduler or CPU scheduler. The scheduler selects from among the processes in memory that are ready to execute and allocates the CPU to one of them. So CPU scheduler actually what it does, that whenever CPU becomes idle, there must be a process. In the CPU every time, so that CPU does not become idle. So it CPU scheduler simply allocates a process into the CPU from the ready from the ready queue. So here there is a diagram which clears the idea about the CPU scheduler. Whenever a new process comes that it admits to the ready queue. So a process if a process wants to be in the running state, then first it goes to the ready state. So whenever new process it first come to the ready state. Now this short-term scheduler or dispatcher, the short-term scheduler dispatchers switches the process from ready state to running state. So if a process was to be in running state, the helps of short-term scheduler dispatcher must be there. Without short-term scheduler dispatcher, a process cannot moved from ready state to running state. Now when a process is in the ready state, then it only can move to the running state by short-term scheduler dispatcher. Now from running state it can move, there can be three states from running state. A process can switches to the three state from running state. One state it can switches to the waiting state if there is input output or some event wait occurs, input output wait for input output or some any other event occurs, then it switches to the waiting state. If some interrupt occurs, then it again can move to the ready state and it again can switches to the ready state. If it completes its execution, then it terminates in some way, then it can move to the terminated state. Or so in this three state it can switch from running state. Now from waiting state, if input output event complication completed, then it again can switches to the ready state. So it is the diagram, how the process moves to the ready, running, waiting in these states. Now CPU scheduling decisions take place in the following four circumstances. There is four circumstance where the CPU scheduling decision take place. Number one, when a process switches from running state to the waiting state. When a process switches from the running state to waiting state, then a CPU scheduler decision can take place. Number two, when a process switches from the running state to the ready state. When a process switches from the running state to the ready state. Number two. Number three, when a process switches from the waiting state to the ready state. When a process switches from the waiting state to the ready state, then a CPU scheduler decision take place. And number four, when a process terminates. So in these four cases, a CPU scheduler decision can take place. When a process, first one is when a process switches from running to waiting state. Number two, when a process switches from running state to the ready state. Number one, running state to waiting state. Number two, running state to ready state. Number three, waiting state to the ready state. And number four, when a process terminates. Now in the first case, when a process moves to the running state to waiting state, or in the fourth case, when a process terminates, here there is no choice in terms of scheduler. In this case, scheduler has no choice. A scheduler there is no, this process is not more in the ready state. because process moves to the waiting state or terminates, so process is not in the ready queue. So in circumstances 1 and 4 there is no choice in terms of scheduler. A new process, if one exists in the ready queue, must be selected for execution, but there is a choice however in circumstances 2 and 3. So when a process moves to the running state to waiting state or running state to it terminated state, there is no choice for for the scheduler. A new process must be allocated for execution if there is a new process in the ready queue. But when a process moves to the waiting state to the ready state, or a process moves to the running state to ready state, so process itself in the ready state again. So in these cases there is a choice for the scheduler. Either a new process can be in the running state, or this process itself can be again in the running state by the short term scheduler. So scheduler has a choice here. So scheduler can take a new process or take this process again. So here is a choice in case of scheduler. So there is preemptive and non-preemptive schedulings. Here it is important. So what is preemptive scheduling? When there is a no choice, when there is no choice to the scheduler. So in cases when scheduling take places only under circumstances 1 and 4, when there is no choice for scheduler, we say that the scheduling scheme is non-preemptive. We say that the scheduling scheme is non-preemptive. Otherwise the scheduling scheme is preemptive. Now let us see what is the definition of non-preemptive scheduling. Under non-preemptive scheduling, once the CPU has been allocated to a process, the process keeps the CPU until it releases the CPU either by terminating or by switching to the waiting state. So process keeps the CPU until it releases the CPU either by switching to the waiting state, waiting state, or it terminates, or switching to the terminated state. It is a preemptive scheduling. If the process again not goes to the ready queue, then it is a preemptive scheduling. So it is a non-preemptive scheduling. If process again not goes to the ready queue, it either move to the waiting state or terminated. So it is a non-preemptive scheduling. Now this scheduling message is used by the Microsoft Windows 3.1 and by the Apple Macintosh operating system. Apple Macintosh operating system and Windows 3.1 uses the scheduling system. Now preemptive scheduling. In this type of scheduling, the tasks are usually assigned with priorities. At times it is necessary to run a certain task. That has a higher priority before another task, although it is running. Therefore, running task is interrupted for some time and resume later when priority task finishes its execution. So we can explain it from here. Preemptive scheduling. So a process is running. Suppose a process is running. Now there must be another process comes in the ready queue, which is higher priority. So we have to allocate this higher priority process first in the running state. So CPU scheduler takes the higher priority process and running state, and interrupt occurs to the running state. So this is a preemptive scheduling. Preemptive scheduling is a priority based scheduling. So thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, please press the like button. If you want to get more update from this channel, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.